Julio was just 14 years old, but he didn't have a home, didn't have a bed, and most days he didn't even have food. He lived on the rough streets of Abuja, a big, noisy city. Every day, he wore the same torn, dirty clothes. His bare feet were covered in dust. To survive, he picked plastic bottles and scrap metal from trash bins. He carried them in a worn-out sack, hoping to sell them for a few coins. Some days, a kind stranger would give him 5 naira. Other times, people shouted at him, "Go away. You're dirty. You make the market stink." But Julio never gave up, even when his stomach growled, even when his lips cracked from thirst, even when he hadn't eaten in 2 days. Early morning. Street shots with a boy walking slowly. That morning, the sun rose hot and bright. Julio woke up early from the cold pavement. His back ached. His belly was empty. Still, he picked up his sack and started walking through the dusty streets, searching, hoping he found 2 crushed bottles, a bent spoon, and a few metal cans. He smiled faintly. "Maybe today I'll earn enough to eat," he whispered. Busy market, noise of vendors and children. The market was alive with noise. Women shouted prices. Men pushed carts. Children ran past, laughing with pieces of bread in hand. Julio walked to the first stall. "Please, auntie, do you have any food you don't need?" The woman turned and snapped, "I don't cook for beggars. Go away." He stepped back in silence and went to the next stall. "A little bread, auntie? Even just the crumbs." This time, she ignored him completely, like he didn't exist. Julio tried again and again. No one gave him anything. Some scolded him. Others turned their heads. Kids eating corn. Julio notices dropped food. Then he saw a group of boys eating roasted corn. One of them dropped a piece and walked away. Julio bent down, his hands trembling. He wiped it with his shirt. Just as he was about to eat, a dog ran past and snatched it. Julio sat under a wooden stall, hugging his knees. "Maybe the trash will feed me today," he whispered behind a restaurant. Trash, flies, and hope. He walked behind a nearby restaurant where food waste was dumped. The smell was strong. Flies swarmed. But to Julio, this was hope. He dug carefully through the garbage and finally found a small bowl of rice and beans. It wasn't too spoiled, not too dirty. "Thank you, God," he whispered. He rinsed it using water from a leaking pipe, sat under a tree, and unwrapped the food with shaky hands at a sudden sound. A woman collapsed beside the trash. Then he heard a thud. Behind the dumpster, a woman lay on the ground. Her face was pale, her clothes dusty, her belly pregnant. Julio's heart raced. He dropped the spoon and rushed over. "Madam, are you okay?" She didn't respond. Her lips were dry. Her hands were shaking. Julio looked at his plate, the only food he had, then back at her. Without hesitation, he fed her tiny bits of rice with his fingers. "Please eat, madam. Just a little." She opened her eyes slowly, tears falling. "Why? Why are you helping me?" she whispered. Julio gave a small, tired smile. "Because I know what hunger feels like. No one helped me yesterday, but I don't want your baby to suffer." She cried softly, eating bit by bit. Her hand stopped shaking. She breathed easier. "My name is Natasha," she said. "I'm Julio," he replied. Natasha handed him a card. She reached in her bag and gave him a business card. "Keep this. One day, if you ever need help, find me." Julio couldn't read much, but he saw her name, Natasha. He helped her to her feet and watched her walk away. His plate was now empty, but his heart was full. "Maybe today I did something right," he whispered, Flashback of Natasha's life. But before that day, Natasha had lived a very different life. She was once the wife of one of Abuha's richest men, Mr. Obinaina. He was powerful, respected, feared. They were once in love, but over time, things changed that he became distant. Cold, arrogant. One day, Natasha discovered he had another woman, an entire secret family in another city. When she confronted him, he said coldly, "If you don't like it, leave." So she did. 2 months pregnant. She walked out with nothing but a handbag and heartbreak. Her bank account frozen. Her phone shut off. She was alone, broke, starving, forgotten, until that moment behind the dumpster. Until Julio, years later. Julio is older. Years passed. Julio grew into a young man, but still lived on the streets. His face matured. His body grew. But his struggles never stopped. That he still picked bottles, still slept under bridges. But one thing never left him. Natasha's old, bent business card in his pocket. IT gave him hope. Busy road. Julio gets hit by a car. One hot afternoon. Julio was crossing the road when a car sped from nowhere and hit him. That he collapsed. His sack flew. Bottles shattered. Blood spread. A crowd gathered. "Call the hospital," someone shouted. A taxi rushed him to St. Grace Hospital. Natasha enters the hospital. There, a nurse walked in, soft eyes, calm hands, a heart that once knew hunger. She saw the boy on the bed and froze. "Julio," she whispered in shock. She turned to the doctor. "Please, I'll take care of him personally." It was Natasha, the woman he once saved. Now, she would fight to save him. Julio lay unconscious. Natasha never left his side. She fed him, cleaned his wounds, and stayed through the nights. "You don't know who I became, Julio," she whispered, "but you saved me once. Now I'll give you life." After days of silence, Julio's eyes opened. "Where am I?" "You're safe now," Natasha said. Then he remembered. "You were pregnant behind the dumpster," she nodded. "Yes. And you fed me when you had nothing." "I never forgot." Julio moves in with Natasha. When Julio recovered, the doctor said he was ready to leave. "But where will I go?" he asked softly. Natasha walked in. "You'll come home with me." He stared. "Home?" "Yes," she smiled. "Your new home." In her modest apartment, children played outside. The air smelled of rice. Julio stepped in, overwhelmed. Then a little girl appeared. "Mommy, who is that?" she asked. Natasha smiled. "This is Julio. A long time ago, he saved your life." The girl hugged him shyly. "Thank you." Julio's eyes filled with tears. That little girl was the baby from that day. Her name was beautiful in Swahili. Weeks passed. Julio helped clean, cooked, played with Zuri, and even started learning to read using her school books. Then one day, Natasha gave him news. "I spoke to a friend. There's a job for you at a recycling company." Julio was stunned. "A real job?" She smiled. "Yes, and it starts next week." Tears of joy rolled down his face. "Thank you, Natasha. You didn't just save my life. You gave me a reason to live." Today, Julio wakes up with purpose, that he wears a clean shirt, that he eats with a family. He works with dignity. He is no longer just a bottle boy. He is Julio, a young man with a future. Dear viewers, sometimes the people who have nothing are the ones who give the most. And sometimes one small act of kindness returns years later, like a miracle. Never look down on anyone, because the person you help today may be the one who saved your life tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more true African stories that inspire and change lives. Thank you.